Welcome to another Take a Break and Create and Craft Along. This is the first video that you're going to need for the quilling project, and in this one I'm going to take you through the absolute basics for quilling. So how to create the little coils like this one that I've got here, and also how to attach those single straight pieces of paper as well. So let's start off with the coils. Now, if you were lucky enough to get the kit, what you'll have within the kit is a board like this, and this board gives you all of the shapes and sizes that you need. So you'll also get within the kit a little quilling tool like this. It's essentially like a pen, but with a metal nib on the end, and within that metal nib there's a little slot in there. So to create the coils, what we're going to do is take a piece of paper. Now, the length of the piece of paper you'll need will vary depending on the size of the coil that you want. Most of them in this project are done with either full strips or half strips, so it's dead easy. So you take that little slot that's within the tool and just slide your piece of paper into the edge there. Then we're going to turn it and just trying to keep it nice and straight as we go. Twist that whole piece of paper on. Now I tend to use just my finger to steady it a little bit there, just to keep it twisting on nice and straight as I go, and you're going to turn the whole lot onto there. Now, depending on what size of spiral that you need, the paper will kind of bounce back out to create the right diameter of circle. So I've got a little bit more to get on here. Let's get that all on. And then we don't glue it just yet, because obviously at the minute it's quite a tight spiral, but quilling kind of really asks for ones like this, which have got a little bit more kind of air between them, a little bit more gap, and it kind of creates more of that spirally look. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the board to create those spirals. Now I've got different sizes on here, so I can show you. This one is a 20mm one, or it was, there we go. And then this one is a 25. And this one is a 30. Now, these two I've done with a full piece of paper, full strip, and this one I've done with a half strip. So it kind of keeps that same amount of twists in there and keeps more or less the same look for when you're putting it together. Now, this next one I'm going to do one that's slightly smaller, because the slightly smaller one is going to provide the kind of bud that all of the petals come out from. So with it still on the tool and me just holding it with my finger, let me move these two out the way for now. I'm going to put it into that 15mm diameter hole, and then gently just let it spiral out and then remove the tool. Let it sit there, just let it find its own kind of nice even spiral on there, and then once you've got it to the right size, you can just grip it by the sides. You need to leave this little piece out, because this is where we're going to attach our glue. And as long as you've got a good hold on it, you can kind of, move it around and play with it a little bit if you want to. This is going to be, I'm just going to show you on the kind of template piece. Again, this comes within the kit. If you haven't got the kit, there is a template online which you can use to transfer, either print it straight out or you can trace it onto a piece of card. And if just I hold that there, I can see that that's about the right size for that. Obviously, I'm going to have to squish it and manipulate it a little bit to get that same kind of almost rounded triangle shape to it. But if I want to make that a little bit bigger, so I make sure it covers the whole lot, I can just move that outer piece back a little bit. And can you see now how it's given me a bit more? If I just gently open my fingers, it'll spiral that out so it fills in the whole gap. And then that's the size I'm going to use for that piece. Now, with this, you're going to add a little dab of glue. And then once you've got your little dab of glue on, you are going to, that's quite a big dab of glue. I'll definitely go for a bit less than that. So I'm just going to try and scrape a little bit off. I'm just putting it onto the edge of my board. And I'm going to just do the one side. I'm just doing the loose side. I'm not actually attaching it to here, because this I could still move and I could still change the size at this point if I wanted to. Now, I do advise that you kind of spread this out nice and thinly till it almost goes clear. And if you can wait 10-15 seconds, it's definitely worth doing that before you stick it down, because what you'll get is a more instant grab. If the glue is still quite white and quite wet, you'll just have to hold it there for a bit longer to allow it to take its shape. So now that's ready, I'm just going to hold it like that. if you're using the guide, you can kind of pop it back into one of the shapes that's the appropriate size, and that will kind of hold it for you. But it's always good to put just a little bit of pressure on it just to hold that in place. And it's a really good glue. It's quite a quick grab, so it's not going to take very long. And then if I just take my finger off there, there is your first spiral done. So you're going to make a variety of these for your picture. You are going to make one of these kind of small 15 to maybe 18 millimeter ones. You are going to make 4 of these little green ones. These are 20 millimeters. If I just pop it in that hole, you'll be able to see. And they're for the bottom half of the leaves. You are going to make another 4 of these lighter green 25 millimeter ones. They are for the top half of the leaves. And then you are going to make another few 25 millimeter ones, another 2 actually, in this kind of peachy pinky colour, and then 3 in this really large 30 millimeter one, which is going to be your petals that are in the foreground. So I would advise you make up all of these first and then kind of construct it, because it is a lot easier that way. The other technique that you're going to need to apply these to your paper is just using single strip pieces and using them on the card, just on their edge like that. And once this is stuck down, you'll be able to move it, and you'll see that'll give it dimension, and it'll also, it's quite a fine fiddly process. And if you've got a pair of tweezers, that will really help you with this, because you'll be able to kind of hold the edge of the paper rather than trying to hold the whole paper with your fingers. So what I will do for this piece is I'll just offer it up and kind of measure it so it's about the right size. I will trim that off with a nice straight edge at kind of 45 degrees, 90 degrees to the edge of my paper. I don't particularly want it at a 45 for this one. If you want a more gradual slope on the end, then absolutely you can put different angles in if you wish. So then I'm going to take the glue pen, and this is already pre-printed on there, so I'm going to follow exactly that line. I'm just going to get that glue pen started off, because I don't want it to come out as a great big lump. And then I'm going to put tiny dots all the way down. There's a bit heavy on the front there, but what I want is tiny dots all the way down. This glue will dry clear, so you don't need to worry too much if you do put a little bit too much on, because you'll not see it when you've got your finished project. And then we're going to go all the way down. Again, if you're able to leave this for 10 to 15 seconds just to dry off a little bit first, you'll get more of that instant grab, and you won't have to kind of stand there holding it for quite as long. But once it has gone off a little bit, then all we're going to do is line it up at the top end, follow that all the way around, and then just hold it in place just for, I'm just going to move that so it's back on its line a little bit more. Hold it in place for probably 15, maybe 20 seconds, and then you'll be able to take it away and it will hold it there for you. Now, when you're doing these single pieces, please be patient and do one bit at a time. It gets incredibly difficult if you start trying to put multiple bits on, which sometimes are pushing against each other, because what you'll find is the more you try and push one on, the more the next one pops off. So with these pieces, I would definitely be that little bit more patient and just add one bit at a time. So they're your 2 basic techniques. The next video is going to take you through how to actually construct the flower design that you've seen as the main project. So once you've got the hang of this, I'll see you over there.